In a secret government laboratory in Korea, scientists are conducting a series of horrific experiments on dogs, hoping they can be used in wars. Meanwhile, at the Department of Security, Secretary Jong gives Deputy Director Cha extra money as a token of appreciation for supporting his campaign. Later at home, Cha watches as his daughter, Kyung-min, packs her things as she is leaving to study abroad. She packs a book that belonged to her late mother, and Cha scolds her, complaining about unnecessary items. Kyung-min becomes upset and reminds him that it is the last remaining copy of her mother's book before rushing into her room. Later, Jong-won and Kyung-min are driving to the airport. Stopping at a gas station, they face an issue when the attendant refuses to accept a card, demanding cash instead, which enrages the man. In the end, he drives away without paying for the gas. Meanwhile at the airport, athlete Yura and her manager, Moran, argue over her passport, which was not renewed on time. An elderly woman approaches them, mistaking Yura for her niece. The women realize the old lady has dementia, but then her husband appears and takes her away. At the same time, a thick fog descends over the area. As Yura and Myran get into their car, they notice that visibility has drastically worsened. The elderly woman and her husband are also driving in the heavy traffic on a bridge, along with hundreds of other people. Everyone tries to move cautiously. However, a reckless driver speeds up, angering the other drivers. A truck driver, unable to stop in time, crashes into the speeding car, triggering a chain reaction. One car after another collides, creating a massive traffic jam. Eventually, one side of the bridge becomes completely blocked by a pileup of wrecked vehicles. Meanwhile, the gas station owner, upon learning about the reckless driver, scolds the attendant. The attendant, jumping into a tow truck, sets off in pursuit of the debtor. Jong-won also gets into an accident near a military truck. He calls his superior, as this is a large-scale emergency, and action must be taken. Meanwhile, the soldiers try to contact the driver of the second truck, which had moved ahead, but no one answers. The men run along the bridge and soon reach the vehicle. However, the doors are open, and there is no one inside. The commander orders the shutdown of cellular communication on the bridge, leaving the many stranded people without service. Jong-won notices that his daughter has disappeared and rushes to find her. Meanwhile, Kyung-min had simply seen a dog nearby, repeatedly hitting its head against the bridge railing. She wants to feed it and approaches close enough to read the name on its collar, E9. At that moment, her father finds her and warns her to be careful, as the dog might be dangerous. Meanwhile, many passengers spot other dogs. Though they are behaving calmly for now, their presence looks ominous. The military reports the escape of the first batch of dogs to Dr. Yang, who is also stuck in the traffic column. They ask him to lock the system, and he opens his laptop, something Jong-won, standing nearby, notices. Jong-won demands an explanation of what is happening, but he is only told that a helicopter will soon arrive to resolve everything. However, he insists that the cellular network must be restored immediately. He is then restrained. Meanwhile, the gas station attendant arrives at the crash site, where people beg him to start clearing a path. At the same time, Jong-won threatens Yang, demanding to be released. However, the scientist is unfazed because, as he claims, if things go wrong, they will all end up dead. He activates the system and orders the operation to begin. Upon detecting the code, the dogs start running toward the truck, but one of the dogs suddenly stops, puzzling Yang. He realizes that E9 is uncontrollable, and while the rest of the pack has already entered the truck, this particular dog poses a serious threat. At that moment, a helicopter hovers over the bridge and lowers a cage onto the truck, with several soldiers rushing to secure it. Meanwhile, the gas station attendant's dog, Judy, slips away and he runs after her. Jong-won forces Yang to give him an answer, but the scientist only advises him to ask his superior. Just then, Judy appears nearby, and Yang orders her to be removed, but Kyung-min runs after the dog. Jong-won tries to keep the soldiers away from his daughter, while the gas station attendant recognizes his debtor and demands his money back. Yang reports the uncontrollable chaos and orders the helicopter to take off, leaving E9 under his responsibility. As the helicopter begins lifting the cage, one of the soldiers spots E9's control chip lying on the ground. At that moment, the dog leaps into the cockpit and kills the pilot. The helicopter spins out of control, causing the cage to fall onto the bridge and release the entire pack. People watch in horror as the helicopter crashes, slicing through the bridge's suspension cables. Yang's laptop signals that the dogs are completely uncontrollable, and Jong-won is horrified to see that the number of specimens is 116. A moment later, the truck's doors burst open, and the dogs leap out, attacking people. One of them jumps on Yang, and Jong-won barely manages to fend off the creature before shoving the scientist into a car and rushing to find his daughter. Nearby Yura and Miran still don't fully realize what's happening. Jongwon yells for everyone to run. Panic erupts as people flee, but the wreckage of cars blocks their escape. Yura grabs a golf club and fights off one of the dogs, but many people fall victim to the beasts, including soldiers. The gas station attendant catches Judy and tries to hide in a car, only to find a killer dog already inside. He sprints away in terror. Jongwon and his daughter jump into a car. The man starts the engine, ready to drive off, but Kyung-min spots the gas station attendant and begs her father to help. Seeing a dog closing in on the man, Jongwon opens the trunks, and the attendant leaps inside just before he slams on the gas. Meanwhile, Yura and Miran reach a bus where the elderly couple is sitting and rush inside. Suddenly, flames erupt right in front of Jongwon's car, quickly spreading to the nearest vehicle and blocking the exit from the bridge. To make matters worse, a dog jumps onto the windshield. Meanwhile, Jongwon's superior begins searching for solutions. The helicopter cannot fly, and ships are unable to help since the bridge is far above sea level. Journalists demand answers from the presidential candidates, but they remain silent about the issue. Jongwon revives Yang, who admits that he originally developed the dogs as rescue animals, but the military decided that killer dogs would be more useful. At the same time, the presidential candidate is informed that the military had attempted to adapt the dogs for counterterrorism operations, but the project was shut down. The specimens were supposed to be destroyed, but now they have escaped. Jongwon contacts his superior again, and this time the call goes through. His superior orders his assistant to evacuate from the bridge because gas will be used to neutralize the dogs. Just then, an explosion occurs, and gas begins spreading across the bridge. Jongwon tells his daughter to breathe through a cloth and run with him to the bus. He pleads for rescue teams to be sent, as the bridge's suspension cables are failing. By now, people have managed to board the bus, and the driver speeds down the only semi-clear lane away from the fire. But suddenly, the bridge starts collapsing, trapping the bus. Jongwon explains to the passengers that the dog's behavior is due to rabies, though they struggle to believe him since the dogs initially acted normal. The gas station attendant clarifies that rabies doesn't manifest immediately, which helps calm the group. Jongwon promises the attendant a reward if he stays silent about everything once they escape. Soon special forces reach the bus and claim they have found no trace of the dogs. They instruct the passengers to follow them, but Jongwon unexpectedly stops everyone and contacts his superior. The man promises protection, and the passengers agree to leave the bus. However, Yang insists on staying behind, believing the dogs are merely hiding. Jongwon drags him out, knowing that he is a key witness. As the people move toward the city, Dr. Yang asks for help in retrieving his laptop. Suddenly car alarms begin going off from different directions, unsettling everyone. The rescuers, distracted while checking the vehicles, are ambushed by the dogs. Within minutes, many are torn apart, and Jongwon barely manages to get his daughter to safety. Meanwhile, the head of security receives a message that contact with the special forces has been lost. Jongwon hides his daughter in the bus before returning to retrieve a lost radio. The scene of the attack is now eerily empty, and he finds the book his daughter dropped, the one written by her mother. At the same time, Kyung-min watches the last video of her mother from the hospital and hears Yang's voice as he arrives at the bus. Jongwon comes across several survivors hiding in a small truck and suggests they figure out how to escape on their own. Meanwhile, Yang tells Kyung-min that the dogs cannot be tricked, they were all cloned from E9. To make E9 aggressive, her puppies were killed before her eyes, so now she is taking revenge on humans. The survivors craft torches and make their way toward the bus. Jongwon's superior advises them on the safest direction to take and prepares snipers to eliminate the dogs. Kyung-min spots the approaching torches and wants to open the bus doors, but Yang stops her. As the flames start dying out, the dogs attack. The gas station attendant fights them off using alcohol, while Jongwon fires a flare gun. Kyung-min opens the doors, and everyone rushes inside the bus. At the edge of the bridge, 5 surviving dogs stand watching, but there are no rescuers in sight, nor are the snipers. Jongwon realizes that his superior has betrayed him, and Yang confirms that the project was approved by him. Furious, Jongwon uses the radio to inform his superior that he now knows everything. The bridge is about to collapse, but he is determined to escape. He plans to lead the group toward Seoul, where according to his superior, gas tanks are stationed. Just then, the group spots the gas station attendant's tow truck, the last vehicle before the pileup, but the keys are still in the bus. Nearby stands the transport truck, the cage that once held the dogs. Yang suddenly remembers that he dropped his laptop somewhere around here, and soon they manage to find it. The scientist gets to work. Yura grabs her golf club while Yang activates the call signal. She smashes golf balls into the windshield of the bus where the dogs are trapped. Responding to the call, they leap out and jump into the transport truck as the gas station attendant rushes toward the bus. However, inside E9 is already waiting for him. He manages to escape, but the dog chases him. Yet upon spotting Yang, E9 ignores the attendant and attacks the scientist instead. Just then, another section of the bridge collapses, taking the cage full of dogs with it, but the truck itself hangs onto the edge. The gas station attendant starts the tow truck and drives toward the dangling truck. Jong-won orders everyone over the radio to escape, but Kyung-min disobeys and runs to attach the tow cable to the truck, despite E9 standing in her way. The entire bridge shakes, E9 falls into the abyss, and a wrecked car crashes down onto Kyung-min, while the transport truck dangles on the brinks. As Jong-won struggles to get up, he sees his daughter. She managed to hook the truck to the tow cable just in time. The gas station attendant pulls it up and speeds toward the city as the bridge finally collapses behind them. Survivors are met by a crowd, led by Jong-won's superior. The man claps upon seeing him, but Jong-won punches him in the face, returns the money he had received, and announces to the people that everything was recorded on his smartwatch. Yang also agrees to testify. The presidential candidate quietly leaves, trying to disappear, while Kyung-min declares that she won't be going abroad after all. The film ends with breaking news about the dogs, revealing them as victims of cruel experiments. Meanwhile on the shore, a surviving E9 emerges, carrying one of her rescued puppies. The end. Thank you for watching.